Morning, everyone. We're going to give it about 30 seconds to a minute just to make sure that everyone's coming in, but welcome to the Society's live Q&A. So welcome, everyone, to the Society's live Q&A. We'll be taking you through what a society is, what are our sports clubs, very briefly, and also what are student groups. And at the end of the presentation, we'll take questions. So as I said, we'll chat to you about, so first of all, we'll chat about what is AUSA, who we are exactly, and then you'll get to meet both myself and Cecilia, who are your sabbatical officers, and then learn about our societies. And then we'll, of course, get to your questions. So hold your questions till the end of the presentation. There'll be a chat box on the side where you can ask them. So yeah. So the first thing is, who is AUSA? So AUSA is the Aberdeen University Students Association. As a student, you're automatically a member of it. We're an independent student-led organization that supports, empowers, and represents you during your university experience. And you can enjoy many different activities which are led by students and supported by our staff and sabbatical officers. Our big commitment is supporting student voices and ensuring that you're heard. And we want to make sure that you make the most of your time at the university through elections and voting, representation, and of course our activities that are affiliated through us. So who's part of this event? So there's your student president, Cecilia, myself, Rad, the vice president for communities, and then you have Danielle, who's our activities development manager, and Kieran, who's our activities development coordinator. So just a small introduction about myself. As Vice President of Communities, I'm the main SAB representative for students involved with societies, which means I'll relay all of your perspectives and concerns to the university. I'm also very keen this year for societies to feel like they can trust AUSA, and if they have any questions or concerns, they can come to us very easily. And so as a student, I was involved with the Filmmaking Society, all throughout my studies, and I was the president between 2018 and 2019. I've also been the events coordinator for the society and the social media manager for the society as well. I was also in the dance society all throughout my studies. I was a member of the competition team, and then I also became the secretary last year. And then I was the PR manager for the African Caribbean Society last year. And I've also been involved in a lot of other societies, not as a committee member, such as the Gaming Society and the Science Journalism Society. And I'll just pass it over to Cecilia, who will talk to you a little bit about her experience as well.
Hello, so I'm the student president this year, so it's my second year as student president. Last year, my remit looked more like Rad's. I was the support person for societies, but now you're in Rad's trusted hands. My role is very much focused on student council, representation, volunteering and employability, and making sure that you got the opportunities to be the best you can be and get the best experience, and that when you leave university, you got the skills that you need. I also do more than that, of course. My remit is very long, so you can find all about mine and Rad's complete remit if you head to the AUSA webpage. But to be honest, you know, you can just contact us about anything, even if you think it's not directly related, because we will know who pass you on to. So no worries. I am a massive fan of societies. This is technically my 5th year at a university, and I've been involved all through my years here, and even as a sabbatical, I'm still involved. As you can see by these lovely pictures I've added here, I received a few awards, and so has Rad, for our involvement and our commitment to different societies and committees. And this is when we actually received distinction awards, a King's Award with distinction a few years ago for our involvement. So what have I done? So I've been part of both student groups and societies. So when it came to book hands, that is a student group, and I was involved with them all 4 years. I made myself, I progressed from a normal volunteer and then went up from social convener to vice president and then finally president my last year of university. And I also volunteered a few years for Nightline. When it comes to societies, I've been involved in Knitting Society, Filmmaking Society, Skating Society, Thai Society, and Share Planet Society. Sounds like a lot, but really, you know, you can be involved with however many societies you want to be and commit as much time as you want. And even if you're not a member of society, you can always go visit other people's events, and it's just an amazing way to make friends and learning new things. If not for societies, I probably would have dropped out of university in my 2nd year because I just didn't feel like I belonged here. But because societies, and I have made friends, you know, outside of my normal circles by joining, for example, knitting and ice skating. I was able to like make friends who supported me, and then I stuck it out, and now I work for the association because I love the place so much. So if you want to know more about what AUSA does and how to get involved and different things, you can follow us on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter. We'll post, you know, like upcoming opportunities, and you'll also be able to find a lot of like events being hosted by societies and student groups, because when they make an event, they'll make us co-host. So they usually always pop up. And if you go to our webpage, you can also find all the events that's being hosted by societies and groups this week. So make sure that you follow us on social media. And later on during the Q&A, I'm going to post mine and Rad's social media so that you can follow us and send us a friend request, and we can keep everyone updated, and you can tell us what you're doing also.
So what exactly is a society, since we've been speaking so much about it? Well, societies, sports clubs, and student groups are student-run activities which give students the opportunity to develop their skills and discover new hobbies and make new friends, essentially. So we have a bunch of societies from a cappella, and then we also have student groups like student radio, and then we have sports like weightlifting. So there's a whole range of activities that you can get involved with. So we have over 180 societies, we have 57 sports clubs, and we have 7 student groups. And these are just an example of some of them. I've been involved in some of them. So as I said earlier, I was the PR manager for the ACS. I was also involved in the Science Journalism Society. And my flatmate a few years ago was a member of the book club. So there's just so many things you can get involved with society-wise. And another common question we get is, what is the difference between a society, sports club, and student group? Since they all sound quite similar. Well, for a society is a social activity that's affiliated to the society's union. And some of the stipulations of a society is that it must have 50% or more membership of University of Aberdeen students, and committees are completely student run. And they should societies need support or representation, they can get in touch with AUSA or myself or the Societies Union. So they have their own set of rules and bylaws that meet their needs. And if you have any concerns about what the bylaws are, or what rules you want to lay out for your own bylaws, then let us know. So who are the Societies Union? Well, the Societies Union Committee are an elected group of students that represent societies. They have regular meetings to discuss the priorities and issues and give feedback and recommendations to AUSA to help improve student activities. So the Societies Union Committee attend Student Council as well, and they can be contacted on societies@abdn.ac.uk. And I'm going to pass you over to Cecilia, and she'll talk to you a little bit about how to get involved in the Societies Union, and as the nominations are now open.
So a brilliant way to get actually involved with societies is to join the Society Union Committee. So as Rada mentioned, is the way you meet as a group. These are all volunteer elected students, and together you get to basically shape the future of societies and be there to make sure that, you know, we're given the right support, and what we're working with societies, we're doing it in the right way, and we're communicating. And it essentially makes thinking that making sure that our priorities align with societies and their needs. And the elections to be involved with the Society Union Committee is open right now. You can nominate yourself up until the 1st of October. So basically this is the elections that's happening right now. You might have seen it on social media. If you were at the session yesterday, but you probably heard me mention it about like 50 times. And we do absolutely recommend that you do, you know, nominate yourself to be part of the election and ask people to vote for you and get involved, because it's a great way to learn what's happening with AUSA, with the university. You get to be part of the student council, which, as I mentioned, shapes the priorities for AUSA going forward. But it's also some fantastic skills that you learn that'll stick with you throughout your university career and beyond. And you can also go on your enhanced transcript, which, for those who don't know, is this document that you get together with your academic transcript that basically says all the things that you've been involved with, to kind of like recognize the efforts and the skills that you've learned. And then you can use that when you're looking for jobs in the future. And then, so obviously we talked about societies, and I mentioned sport clubs a little bit, but we also got, we talked about societies, rather explain what they are. I mentioned sport groups a little. I cannot speak today, I'm so sorry. Student groups. Sport clubs is a bit different. They have their own societies. I don't know what's wrong with me today. They have their own sports union committee, which you can also run for if you're interested for that, or you can come to our session tomorrow to learn more about sport clubs. But it is essentially a competitive group of like students who are doing some kind of physical activity. And just like societies, do you know, is a great way to get involved, learn new skills, meet new people. And sport clubs are supported by the Vice President for Sports. Their name is Ayla, and AUSA staff, and of course the Sport Union Committee. At the moment, if you have any questions about a sport group, we recommend that you get in touch with AUSA staff or get in touch with myself at ausapresident@abdn.ac.uk until the sport president returns to work again. So here you got a few examples of the sport clubs that we have. You can see the full list if you go to the AUSA website. And yeah, I've actually only been involved with one sport club so far, and I joined them this January, and I sucked, but they're really great coaches, and they don't try to force you to do, you know, what you can't do. They just try to help you get better. So absolutely get involved if you're curious, and don't worry about if you have no experience at all. Same in societies, you know, any skills that you need, they will teach you to make sure that you feel home and welcome with the activity. So a student group, like I mentioned, it's they're a bit different from societies and clubs, but it's still, you know, very social, and you make friends and learn new skills. They're usually part of a group of students that deliver service that will improve the student experience, or provide something else. For example, we have a bunch of student media groups that report on local things, international news, on what AUSA is doing. They are required to have more AUSA Aberdeen students compared to societies, up to 75%, and they have their own set of bylaws within the AUSA constitution. And also they are supported by the VP for communities, and they each send their representatives to student council. So some examples of the student media groups we have is the Granite City TV, run by students, and they're great. Like, you can find them on YouTube. They have their own, you know, different episodes of them reporting on different topics. They teach you all the skills that you might need to be involved. You don't have to go there already knowing how to work a camera or how to edit and things like that. They teach you all of that. Same with the Aberdeen Student Radio. If you're interested in that, then you should definitely get in touch with them, because they air every day. They teach you everything that you need to know and make sure they already have the equipment, so you don't have to worry about that. And then we have the Gaudi, which is the student-run newspapers. Normally, we're not quite sure how it will work now because of COVID, but normally they will produce a different publication each 2 weeks, covering a wide range of areas such as news, features, opine, science, environments, and so on and so on. And you don't have to be consistently involved in able to provide articles. Both me and Brad have provided articles for them without having to, constantly be involved. Some other student groups that we have is CASE, which is the Consent Awareness and Sexual Education group, which works a lot on, sexual harassment and awareness around, consent and how to be a more, aware human being. We also got Nightline, which is a student-run listening and information service based at Aberdeen, completely volunteer-run, like with everything else, and they offer anonymous listening, information, and support to all students. So they're open from 8 p.m. to 8 a.m. And you can find more information about them, both how to get involved and how to contact them on the AUSA web page. Then we got Bookends. Bookends is what I mentioned earlier on, that I've been involved with myself. It says that they have existed for over 30 years, but it's actually more like over 40 years by now. And it's a completely student-run second-hand charity bookshop on campus in which, all the it's for students, run by students. So you can drop off your own books to sell there, but you can also buy books from other students there. And it's a way to, buy cheap textbooks and make a little bit of money back on the books that you had to buy in the past. And then finally, we got Aberdeen Student Climate Network, which, as the name suggests, is a group of students and network in Aberdeen fighting for essentially the climate. And you can also find out more about them on the AUSA web page.
So probably one of the most important questions is, why should I join a society? Well, why shouldn't you? Should really be the question. There's plenty of reasons you should consider joining a club, society, or a student group. And some examples are like, it gives you the opportunity to meet lots of new like-minded people. I know that just going to societies myself, I've met so many people that I share a lot of hobbies with, and I've made so many friends through it. It definitely adds value to your university life. I felt like societies really made my university experience. It also looks really good on your CV, and it equips you with new skills and abilities. You can also try and put it on your enhanced transcript if you're a member of a committee. And there's also an opportunity to try out new things and get out of your comfort zone. So I'd never danced before I joined the dance society, and I ended up being part of so many different competitions. So yeah, it's just been an amazing experience to try something new that I would have never have done if it wasn't for the society. And it also teaches you how to keep a work-life balance, because oftentimes societies run after teaching time, so it forces you to essentially plan and your schedule around what activities you want to do. So I made a plan to ensure that I got all of my assignments done within a 9-to-5 schedule, for example, and that meant that I could enjoy the societies and activities I wanted to do afterwards. So yeah. Another big question is, who can join a society? So anyone can join a society, or a sports club or student groups, and they're also welcome to non-student members as well. Obviously, as mentioned in the slides earlier, there are some stipulations. For example, societies must have at least 50% students, and student groups must have at least 75% students. But otherwise, you can join. It doesn't matter whether you're a fresher, or if you're a PhD student, or if you're a master's student, anyone can join a society. And when can you join a society? You can join a society at any time. At any time in the year, at any point. So all you have to do is go onto the website, and each society, sports club will have different memberships list and different memberships pricing, but we'll get into that a bit later. So how can I join? You find a society, sports club, or student group you'd like to join, whether that be on our website or on their individual Facebook pages. you can browse and explore a list of our societies on the website. It's quite an intuitive space where you can just look through and flick through all of them. And just a reminder that when you join any student activity, you don't have to have any pre-existing knowledge or skills. You just need to be interested in it. And there really is no better time than now to try out something new. And what you can also do is get in touch with the society itself. Oftentimes, some societies and student groups and sports clubs will have like taster sessions to try out their activities. So you might want to try a taster session before you choose to become a member of it. You can also find the email addresses of any society or sports clubs you're interested in via our email, societies@abdn.ac.uk or fixtures@abdn.ac.uk, and then we'll let you know. If you're a new student, you have to create a guest account on the website, so you include all of your details. And so one thing you do need to note before you attend some events is that most societies will have free events and free taster sessions and also free meetings, but there are some events that will require a fee to enter or require like some sort of ticket. So just please be very mindful of that if you're wanting to join some events. And so if you do decide to join a society, you'll need to purchase a society's union membership, which costs £3. The £3 will register you and your chosen societies for insurance. And once you have that union membership, you only have to pay that once annually. And no matter how many societies you join on top of that, you only need to pay the society's union membership once. So you don't need to have to pay that membership every single time you join a new society. That will always be there for you throughout your entire academic year. But unlike societies, student groups don't have a membership, and so you don't need to purchase a membership in order to become a member of a student group. You can just join. And just so you know, like where these funds are going, like the society's union membership is not kept by the Students Association. That money is directly invested back into the societies through our grants. So what you're paying for is essentially like an opportunity for the societies to grow even more when they apply for the grant. And I think most importantly, when you do join is have fun. So once you've signed up and paid your membership, you can check where the next event is taking place and you can have an amazing time. Obviously this year it might be slightly different because of COVID-19 and the current restrictions, but what that just means is that a lot of the events will be online, and you can visit our What's On page to see what's online. And yeah, there's still going to be a wide array of events. As I said, we have over 180 societies. It just comes in a different format. And obviously, if you want to see anything, or if you have any suggestions, or if you would like to know how to engage with societies, you can obviously come to us, and we'll try our very best to help you. And of course, societies, sports clubs, and student groups aren't the only thing you can get involved with. There are so many other opportunities to engage with other students and make new friends, such as through the forums, through our campaigns, through RAG, and through being a class rep. So you can learn more about other volunteering opportunities this Thursday when we have another live Q&A session specifically about the stuff listed. So one of the big things that we've gotten over the last year is also who can you contact. So if you have general queries about AUSA, you can just email the main AUSA email, which is ausa@abdn.ac.uk. If you have questions specifically about societies, you can contact societies@abdn.ac.uk. For sports clubs, it's fixtures@abdn.ac.uk. And of course, you can contact your sabbatical team. So there's Cecilia, your student president, which would be AUSA president@abdn.ac.uk. There's Isla for sport, which is AUSA sport@abdn.ac.uk. There's myself, the communities VP, which is AUSA communities. And then you've got Louise, who's our welfare vice president, which is AUSA welfare. And then last but not least, Andre, who is our Vice President for Education, and that is AUSA Education at ABD. And we also have more information on our website. So if you are completely new to societies, you can click on the Get Involved section, and there should be a new members, a page dedicated to new members. So you can get to know more information. There's an FAQ there as well if you have any questions there. And there is a bunch of other content there that will help you hopefully ease you into societies if you're completely new to them.
We also got more events coming this week. So we had a couple yesterday, we got some today, but we also still got the sports live Q&A tomorrow. So if you got any questions about sports that we already talked about, then like do sign up and join us tomorrow and you'll get all your questions answered. We also got the freshers quizzes on Thursday, which is all hosted by sabbatical officers. There'll be a few at different times throughout the day in case you're in a different time zone and you know you're busy and you can't really make that time. So we've got a few options. And then on Friday, we're also doing a few Netflix parties, all also hosted by the sabbatical officers. So I know in the morning, Andre, the VP of Education, is going to be watching the Eurovision movie. We got Rad in the afternoon, who's going to be watching Discourse, and then me in the evening. And together, if you join me, we're going to watch Enola Holmes, which actually premieres tomorrow. So I think it's a perfect time to watch that movie. So come join me. Yeah, we're just going to move on to the Q&A now. So I know we've been talking for a while, and we're probably going to be talking more yet, but now we'll actually be answering the questions that you specifically want to know about. So make sure that you put all your questions in the Q&A function. And it's open now, so you can already now post your questions, and you can ask anonymously if you feel more comfortable doing that. Totally fine. Please be patient because we can see the questions coming in, and we kind of just have to make sure that we have the right answer before we give it to you, because there's a few of us mentioned here, like we've already mentioned, like there's me, there's Rad, and then you also got Danielle and Kieran, who is staff working with societies, and sometimes they'll know the answer better now. So we just have to make sure that like, oh, please Danielle, can you answer this for us? We're going to try to answer as many questions as we can with the time that we have left. And if you feel like we didn't answer it properly or we don't actually have the answer, maybe try to come tomorrow because it might have been more sport related, so we wasn't prepared for it, or we'll try to answer the question later on. So that's another reason why you should make sure to follow me around on social media. And because this is a live event, please make sure that you don't put any rude language or swearing in your questions. And also please be patient because we know that there's about a 30 to 20 second delay from me saying this to you hearing it. So we'll try to, answer your questions as soon as possible, but sometimes there will be a delay. And I notice we already have a question. So regarding the Big Freshers Week quiz, what happens if I want to join in, but you're studying from home and don't have a team? Ooh, that's a good question. I might have to ask Danielle to answer this one, but I do think that we might be assigning you to a team, because that's not normally what we do when you're in person, so we'll help you find a team. But maybe Danielle would like to hop into this and maybe correct me if I'm wrong.
I think it's been set up so that you can do it either way. So if you have a team that are doing it separately, then you can do it, or you can do it individually. So it's just up to yourselves how you want to participate, but I think it's open to everyone.
Brilliant. I'm just gonna answer a couple of questions here because you saw it, and then let Rad also do some things because he's actual, society sab. But Josephine asked about the Aberdeen Law Project. Where can you sign up to that? Can't find the society on the AUSA website. So I do believe this is a project within the Aberdeen Law Society. So I would suggest getting in touch with them. You can find them on the website or on Facebook and then ask them how to get involved with that project. And there's a question from Anonymous regarding buying a MedSoc membership. You heard there was an issue. I was wondering if it's been fixed yet. As you want to get an early bird offer. As far as I'm aware, this has been fixed, but if it hasn't, then maybe Danielle wants to answer this because she's very operational, and I know that she's worked hard to make sure that the MedSoc membership is as good as it can be.
Yeah, absolutely. So we were working with China, who also works on reception and works a lot with memberships, etc. as well. So she has been working with MedSoc this morning, and we're hoping it should be fixed by lunchtime. But there'll be a message coming out from MedSoc to let you know what's happened there.
So I'm just going to answer one more question before I give the ball to Rad, see if he's got opinions. There's a question about the King's Award. So the King's Award is a recognition from AUSA for your hard work with a society or a student group or a forum in some cases, depending on how much work you do. So it's basically, if you're part of a committee of a society, then you can be awarded a King's Award, either merit or distinction, depending on how much work you put in and how great your effort's been. And it's something that your fellow committee members will nominate you for. Usually the president will nominate you for it. And we're actually working with Danielle this year to make it so that hopefully it can go on your enhanced transcript. So it's not just an award that we give to you, but it's something that, you know, the university will also recognize that you've received it. And then there's just a question about sport here. Would Danielle or Karen like to answer that one? About trying a sport before paying?
Yep, so in terms of sports, this is just a little bit different of a year. So normally Freshers Week would be full of give it a goes where you could go along and try the sport. So at the moment, the sports clubs are just getting ready for everyone to come back and for freshers to then join them later on once they've made sure that all of their safety protocols and everything is in place so that you can join them safely. So if you just want to wait for a few weeks, depending on government guidelines, we're looking forward to getting freshers and new people in to try sports.
There was also another quick question about sports, which or what such societies was, which is, do I need to join a society to use the courts and balls, etc. I think that it would depend on what equipment you mean. So a lot of the sports clubs and societies will have their own equipment that, yeah, you would need to join their society or the society or sports club to use. So it would really depend. Again, like as Danielle said, a lot of the sports clubs are still preparing to handling in terms of like what's currently happening, COVID. So we'll keep you posted on what's currently happening with sports clubs. And another question that we had was, how many societies and sports clubs would you recommend we join? Wouldn't really want to overload myself, especially as a first year student. Well, obviously it's up to the discretion of a person. I think personally, I think first year is probably the most prime time to join a society or sports club. Just because I think as you get closer to third or fourth year, your exams and your essays are a lot more like strenuous and it gets a lot more difficult to keep up. But it's honestly up to each person. I know that Cecilia and I might not be the best examples because we got involved in so many societies, sports clubs, and student groups. I think I was part of like 7 or 8 at one point, and that was admittedly even for myself too many. But like, it honestly depends on the societies because some societies meet weekly, other societies don't meet as regularly. So just have a look at what you think you can do, and you might not want to be part of a society every day. So yeah, it's really up to you. You'll see how each society is scheduled in, and you can always, another thing is that you can always like drop a society if you're not interested in it anymore. So you don't feel it's like a year-long commitment. It just, the activity. So if you're not having fun, then you can just leave. One question is, should I sign up for a society/sports club now or only when it is clear when they will really take place? So this is a good question. I think there are a lot of societies that have had to change their format to be entirely online. And there are some sports clubs and other activities that are waiting because of the current guidelines, so they may not be able to practice or conduct activities as they normally would be able to. So again, that's very individual to the different societies and clubs. As we said, you can sign up whenever throughout the year. So yeah, I would recommend, if you're not sure if the society or sports club is currently running, or if it's not running in a way you'd like, that you can hold off from purchasing a membership and then purchasing a membership later in the year. So it's not a problem. You don't have to sign up at the very start of the year. And then another question is, do I have to pay for certain individual clubs? Yes, so each society and sports club will have their own individual membership fee. Now, some of the fees for some societies, for example, are nothing, but for the most part, most societies will have a fee that's paid on top of the union fee. But as we said, you only have to pay that union fee once, and you just have to look on the website and see how much each society or sports club costs. And we've also mentioned that student groups are completely free, so you can join those without a membership. So another question that we've gotten is, some societies were not at yesterday's Freshers' Fair. Does that mean they're no longer active? No, that does not mean they're no longer active. The Freshers' Fair, people who attended the Freshers' Fair, it just means that they've signed up for the Freshers' Fair. So there are some groups that did not attend the Freshers' Fair but are still active. So you can just check online on the website to see which ones are active and which ones are not, and some will have individual Facebook pages as well.
So there's a question here about the membership, the society union fee, and the £3 that you have to pay. Just to be perfectly transparent about it, so it's a fee that you pay once per year, and then you can join however many societies that you want. The fee, it doesn't go back to AUSA, it goes into the grants that we then give back to societies. So you can always see as a bit, you got a really big society, they might not necessarily need to apply for a grant, but small societies really benefit for this. What it also covers is your insurance. So for example, societies won't necessarily be very high risk. Your activities won't be as high risk as some sport clubs is. That's why you'll notice that you only have to pay £3, and that way you're covered by, you're part of the union, you're covered by insurance, and that's more money going back to the society's grants. Whereas if you look at the sport clubs, it'll be higher because that insurance will be more expensive because it's more high risk. So when you go to check out, so when you go to the AUSA web page and you decide that, oh, I'm going to join the filmmaking society, the fee for that membership will go into your basket, but you won't be able to really check out unless you also click that you want to pay for the union fee. But it'll only come up once. You won't have to do it with every purchase, and it'll cover you for the whole year. And then the next academic year, you'll have to do it again. And then there's a question here about that there's only semester and annual payments for fees, but what if you're only staying for more than a semester but less than 1 year? Unfortunately, there's not much we can do about that. You could possibly just ask the society if you're able to use pay per event, and just pay membership for 1 semester, and then for the next one, whatever you're here, just ask them, oh, can I use pay per event, if you think that works out cheaper for you. But a lot of societies are not very expensive, so it'll be up to you on that one. And I think Rad wants to add something on that.
Yeah, just to add as well that some societies sports clubs do have semester-based memberships as well. For example, the Dance Society will have a semester-based membership or a full year membership. So there are some exceptions to that. I think most societies generally will have a year-long membership. So unfortunately, you might have to pay that, but you could also look on the website because there are a few societies that do pay by semester. So if you are just here for a semester, you can just pay for one. And there was another question on just the memberships, that if you join a student group, you don't have to pay the society's union membership. Yep, that's correct. Student groups don't have a membership fee, so yeah, you can just join a student group without paying anything.
So we got a question from Haley about how many societies would you say it's feasible to join alongside studying and part-time work? So it touches a lot on what Rad already said earlier, that it actually depends a lot on what societies you're part of and also how much time you want to spend with it. So just because you've joined something doesn't mean that you have to be involved with them every single day. Like you can have very much like, you know, you only attend what you want to attend, but also depends on if you're on a committee, that'll be more work rather than if you're just like an ordinary member who's attending the events and meeting. So it would be very difficult to say like how many you can join. I think you should look at what you want to do and then just sign up for it. And then if you find that you can't manage the time, then just reevaluate, like maybe there's some societies that you enjoy more than others, and figure out what works for you. I know that, like Rad said, we're not great examples because we were involved with so much, but it's just because that's how we prioritize things. So yeah, it really is up to you, and it'll be very individual and also very much depend on what societies you're looking to join. For example, if you got a student group, that'll usually be less commitment or more sporadic commitment. For example, if you're volunteering for Nightline or Gowdy, you won't have to be as, you know, involved on a weekly basis, but then maybe you got bookends in which you are involved on a weekly basis. So I think you just have to evaluate your priorities, maybe even speak with members and ask how much involvement they would recommend in order to get the full experience. Yeah. And Diana has asked, can you join a new society at the start of the second term? Absolutely. I did that many times. I even joined the sport club in the second term, and that's completely fine. They don't expect you to have been there the whole year, because we have freshers now, and then usually in January we have refreshers. Everyone kind of sees, you know, at the start of the term as like a reset. So they do, you know, at any time during the year you can join a society, and that's completely fine, and they'll still try to like help you get the skills and get involved as much as possible. So the question about ABD and SURF, which is the sport club. So Danielle is responding to the post right there, so you'll get an answer shortly. So I'm not gonna bother with that one right now. What about music groups? What category do they fall under, and is there a different way to sign up for those? So depending on what music group it is, I recommend that you get in touch with them as soon as possible, because a lot of time they will actually hold auditions if you want to be involved with any of the performative or competitive groups. So you can still find them on the website. Just either filter for specific categories or just like look for them. And I do recommend you get in touch with them as soon as possible, because I don't want you to miss a deadline for audition or anything like that. So there's a question here: is Bookings currently running for us to buy our required textbooks? That's a very good question, because of COVID and their current space, it's very difficult for them to open their shops physically, but they are looking into ways that they can continue online, at least for the first term, until we know what's going to happen with the second term. I would recommend for the latest, like absolute latest update with them, to contact them on, for example, Facebook, and they can let you know what they're planning at the moment. And also maybe you're interested in volunteering, and that's also a way that you can get in touch with them. I'm just going to take one last question before I let Rad take some also, so you're not only seeing my face. But Anonymous asked, is it possible to find out when clubs and societies meet up and have events even if you don't have Facebook? Yeah, absolutely. So if you head to the AUSA web page and then go to what's on, societies and clubs, and they will be putting up their events there so that you can find out what they're doing, when they're doing it, and how to join. And usually there'll be contact details so that you can get in touch with them even though you don't have Facebook. If you got Instagram or Twitter, that might also be another way for you to get in touch with them. A lot of societies and clubs also used Instagram rather than only Facebook.
Yeah, I'm just gonna answer a question that I think we missed, was someone who wants to attend the sports Q&A tomorrow, but they have a course induction. These sessions are recorded, so if you do miss any of the Q&As, they are recorded and you can view them later on, so you don't need to worry about missing it. Hope you enjoy your induction. So we have a question about using the gym. and pool if it's open. So due to current guidelines, we're currently assessing how sports clubs are going to run. I think Danielle might have a clearer idea of when, well, not when things will open, but what the current situation is with some of the sports clubs. She wanted to.
Yeah, absolutely. So currently we're in the middle of risk assessing and getting sports clubs back to activity under the current conditions. So the Scottish Government have given guidelines with national governing bodies as to how sports can operate. So at the minute, sports clubs are just trying to work with their current memberships to make sure everything's safe and everything's good to go. So they'll be bringing in new members over the coming weeks. So just keep an eye out on social media. So make sure you follow AUSA Sport on Facebook and Instagram. And there'll be more information there in the coming weeks, as well as your clubs will be putting information out specifically about themselves as well. But we just have to react to current restrictions and make sure that our clubs are operating safely to get people back to activity.
And then there's another question about how to purchase the gym membership. I assume you mean the closest gym to the campus would be the Aberdeen Sports Village or ASV. So you can check out the ASV website if you want to know. They are also running on some limited services, and there are different guidelines that they have to adhere. So be mindful of that as well. Someone had a question about the dance society. Do you have to have experience, or can you be a complete beginner? You don't have to have any experience whatsoever. I joined the dance society and I'd never danced before, and they have a wide variety of classes. So they have beginner, intermediate classes. They have so many different types of genre of dance. So I myself was involved in the hip hop team and also the salsa team. But there's like ballet, there's contemporary, there's just so many classes that they have to offer. So you can check out their website. Actually, it's dancesociety.co.uk, and you can see all of the different classes they have. Obviously, again, because of the restrictions, it's going to be running slightly different this year. But yeah, if you're interested in dance, please get involved. And everyone's really nice in the committee as well, I know. There's another question about the Aberdeen Law Project. I think, as Cecilia mentioned earlier, it's run by the Law Society, and I think Carolina has just posted the link for you. Our trials for sports teams and still going ahead, and how do you find out about them? I think, as Danielle has said, all of the sports clubs are currently undergoing risk assessments to see how they can run. So if you do want to know more, you can email fixtures@abdn.ac.uk. How do you pay for the £3 Societies Union fee? You can do so through our website. It will, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that when you do purchase the society membership for the first time, it will automatically be added to your payment, and so you'll just have to pay that at checkout. There's a question about, do you need ASV membership for sports clubs? No, I don't believe you do. Correct me if I'm wrong, Danielle, but I don't believe you do. And also not all sports clubs necessarily take place in ASV. So I don't think you're expected to have an ASV membership.
Nope, no ASV membership required, but the sports union operates the same way as the societies union, and that there is a union fee. So you need to have purchased your union fee to activate your card in order to access ASV. So the sports union fee is a little bit more, it's £15, but again, all of that money is invested straight back into sports clubs through grants, and that's how that works. But you do need to have bought your sport union membership in order to make sure that you get easy access into ASV for your training.
And again, we will go into more detail about sports clubs and the sports union tomorrow at the live Q&A about sports clubs specifically.
We had a question here about if you're able to use the gym on campus and pool if it's open. The easy answer is yes. The not easy answer is that it's all very restricted to make sure that it complies with the government guidelines for COVID. So the gym you should be able to use, yeah, the pool, it might be restricted because obviously you have to follow different guidelines to make sure it's safe. And last I was aware, you're not able to use the changing room, which might make going to the pool less appealing because you have to show up in your suit and then leave. If I am lying, then please, Danielle, correct me.
No, you're fine. You're perfectly right.
Perfect. I learned about that yesterday. That's why I wanted to tell you. There's a one question you just get added. So I have a ticket for a movie day on Friday that clashes with another event. That was added later. Is there any way to cancel that ticket? I think the easy answer is yes. Again, you didn't have to pay for it as far as I'm aware. So if you end up not showing up, you know, I don't blame you if something else was added later, and I don't think anyone's going to hate you for not showing up. So I wouldn't worry too much about it. In a way, this is just mainly to see how many people are interested and to be in attendance, and also knowing where to send the link. So if you can't figure out how to like cancel it, just ignore the link when we send it to you, okay? Do we have any more questions? We got 9 more minutes, which is plenty of time if you want to ask more questions. Otherwise, it might be really excruciating because I usually means that me and Rad are gonna talk about random stuff that we've done, part of societies and part of student groups. I can't purchase a membership for a lot of societies. When will they be available? I want to say as soon as possible. I'm aware that we had like a slight glitch, so not all of them became online. But if you pop back in an hour or like in a day, you should be able to pay for the membership. A lot of people don't actually pay until the second week anyway, so I don't think societies are going to start hounding you yet for the memberships. Danielle might want to add something on this.
We had another question. Unless Danielle, you had anything to add?
Yeah, sorry, I didn't realize I had, I think I muted myself instead of taking mute off. But yes, I was just going to say some sports clubs and societies are still deciding on what their final membership price will be. So they're just working on that at the minute, and we're putting them up as quickly as possible. So if there isn't one there, it means that the committee isn't expecting you to have bought one yet. So don't worry, and they'll be available in the next little while. So don't let that discourage you from getting involved and reaching out to them. Make sure that you do that, and then they'll be able to keep you involved and in touch and know when everything is ready to go and when they're expecting you to buy your membership.
So we had a question about if there's any way to view the Freshers Fair, if you missed it yesterday. If you email out AUSA events@abdn.ac.uk, there will be a way to view some of the channels from yesterday and get more information about the Freshers Fair yesterday. So don't worry, just email AUSA events@abdn.ac.uk. And then we had another question about if I pay the £3 union fee, do I have to pay extra fees at societies? So yes, the £3 union fee is just a one-time fee before you pay for any other before you pay for any societies. So that fee is going into the grants, and then societies will set up their own fee that they will charge themselves, and that goes directly to the society themselves. So yes, and again, it's up to the discretion of the society. Obviously this year some societies are changing their fees to reflect the fact that their events are all going to be online. So yeah, have a look on the website to see what the differences are. We had a question about, will all societies post their events on the AUSA What's On page? No, not necessarily. There will be a lot of societies will do and will have their events on the What's On page, but It's also worth checking out some of the individual society Facebook and Instagram pages, because some of them will just promote them themselves. And there are other streams that societies might promote things as well. So yeah, it might be worth going on the individual societies that you're interested in, just to see if you're interested in the specific society. It might just be worth following them directly. So we had another question on where can we find the recorded presentations. If you're referring to this and the other Q&As, I believe you can find them on all of the AUSA channels, so our Facebook page. If you want to view this recording, there's also a question about using the courts in the sports village, but I believe Danielle is going to reply to that post via text. And another question is, do you have to compete in competitions when you join a sports club / society, or can you just participate casually? Yes, you can absolutely participate casually if you want. I mean, I think it depends on the different sports clubs and societies, but for example, when I was in the dance society, there are specific auditions for the competitions, but most people are there just for the classes. So you don't necessarily have to be involved in any of the competitions or anything like that. So it does depend on the different club or society, but I think most competitive clubs do have sessions where you don't have to compete, you just participate. We have another sports question about the swimming club that I think Danielle's answering. Anonymous has asked about the Oxfam event. I'm really sorry, I'm afraid I don't know what event you're talking about. Another anonymous question, if you don't have social media, how can you hear about things that clubs and societies are running? Well, so there is a AUSA newsletter. You can also check out just the website if you don't have like Facebook or Twitter. And you can also obviously email any of the emails as well, so societies@abd.ac.uk or fixtures for sports. We have about 1 more minute of questions. So if you want to get your last minute questions in, please do.
So like Rad mentioned, we're just running out of time. I posted earlier about my and our social media. If you do have social media, I recommend that you follow us. I think Rad also has Twitter, but I'm clueless when it comes to Twitter, so I was not able to find his handle for that. But that is a way that you can continue asking us questions if you want to. Me and the Vice President for Education is actually holding an election session earlier today. If you later today, if you want to join and ask about how to join the Society Union Committee. Oh, I see we have some more questions now. Okay, quickly, let's see if we can answer these questions. Is it possible to do any music lesson on campus, but not as part of band? That is a good question. It looked like someone was trying to type an answer. I would say yes, because we do have a lot of different societies focused on music, and I don't imagine that all of them compete. I think a good way would be to get in touch with them and ask what they offer and how you can be involved without having to be in a band. Another way would also be to contact the music department, because they are the ones who control all the music equipment and all the music rooms in McRobert building. AUSA don't do that. That is the music department. So I would actually recommend that you get in touch with them and ask what you're able to do. And then we got one question here. So to join sport club societies, the first thing to do is buy a membership on our website and then put in touch with the people running them. No, so you only have to buy the membership, the sport union membership or the society union membership if you want to join a society or a club. I recommend that you first decide if you want to join one. And then when you buy a membership for that club or society, then you might buy the union fee. As students at Aberdeen University, you're already members of AUSA. If that's what you worried about, that you won't become members, you're already a member. But if you want to join a club society and you've decided, oh, I want to join Bridge Club, for example, then you make sure that when you buy membership for that society, or when you first buy a membership for club, that's when you buy that union fee. Because like we mentioned, that's how we know that you're involved. That's how we make sure that you're covered by insurance. And also then we can reinvest that money into the activities. So, I mean, if you want to buy a membership without joining a club, go for it. But I would recommend like only do that if you're actually joining a club or a society. And thank you, the person who said that. This was very informative. I hope to see a lot of you guys tomorrow for the sports Q&A. We unfortunately have to wrap this up. But I saw that there were so many sport club questions. So I hope that means that we will see all of you guys tomorrow at the same time. And then hopefully you guys also join us on Thursday for the opportunities and volunteering Q&A also. Brilliant. This has been great. I hope to see everyone more later on.
Yeah, thank you so much, everyone. Yeah, as Cecilia said, we have so many more events happening. We have the other Q&As. There's the sports one tomorrow, and then there's a volunteering one on Thursday. And then, of course, we have our own individual events planned, including the movie nights. I know that Andre, our Vice President for Education, has a game night as well. So keep an eye out. Obviously, check back out our website and all of our social media pages for all of the events we're running for freshers. And we hope you have a great week and the start to the new semester.